Welcome back. You're watching One on One. We're speaking with world chess champion Vishwanathan Anand. Tell me about that winning moment, becoming world champion, the lead up to it, and how your state of mind.
I'd become world champion for the first time in 2000, but at that point the title was still disputed. And what made it even worse, I lost it within a year. So I didn't retain my title in 2001. That was a big blow for me. And then for a long time, because there was a bit of chaos in the chess world, there wasn't actually a championship I could take part in. But finally in 2006, the title got reunified. And in 2007 in Mexico City, I had a chance to fight for the title. I think the very fact that I'd waited so long, 6 years, made me really sort of want it. I mean, it sounds self-evident that you would want to become world champion, but you can't control your brain. And this time, I could really feel that everything in me, wanted to do it. It helped that Mexico went incredibly smoothly. I mean, the individual games were tough, but at least I could always be consoled by the fact that my score and I was leading in the tournament and so on. Still, I had an enormous scare in the 13th game, right before the last lap, because it looked like the thing was a done deal then. But had I lost this game, the last round would have been lottery. Still, I would probably had the best odds or the most tickets, but it would have been really tough. So when I drew that 13th game, fairly lost position, but I managed to save it with some defense. And then I could really sit and enjoy myself. And that was really special because the first time I'd become the unified world champion, but also having sort of not had it for 6 years, that was very special. Then last year I had to defend the title in Bonn against Kramnik. And I would say again, pretty much the same emotions. Retaining the title, doing it in the match format, which I hadn't done before, so that completes all the formats. And knowing that I again didn't lose the title within a year, that was really special for me.
Of course, you're all competing. So how does the chess fraternity deal with each other? How is the relationship between the different players?
I would say generally speaking, we get along splendidly. Clearly, rivalry sort of comes and goes. I mean, you might be a strong rival of someone for a few months, I think, and then it becomes a bit tense. You can see that conversation's a bit more strained and so on. And then a couple of months later, sort of miraculously, we just act as if nothing ever happened. I mean, Kramnik and I have known each other for many, many years, but in 2008, it was very difficult for us to have a normal conversation because we knew we were going to be playing a big match in Bonn in October. But generally speaking, we do pretty well. There are one or two cases where two chess players will never talk to each other with their whole lives, and one of them go off the rails. But broadly speaking, we're friendly. We socialize a lot together, and we all get along together pretty well.
Now, winning the title, defending the title, and so on, those are obviously defining moments in your life. But what else that you can think of in your life do you see as clear moments which are there, burned in your memory?
Well, 1987 was a spectacular year. I became World Junior Champion and Grandmaster in the same year. And it's difficult to imagine now, I mean, to be the first Asian World Junior Champion. At that point, I hadn't even realized it was possible till I sort of stumbled into the lead towards the end of the tournament. The thought had not even crossed my mind. The same thing with becoming a Grandmaster, that it was such a big mental block for all Indians. We were all competing to be the first, and then bing, it happened. So 87 is a very big year. 1983 as well, where I broke through in India in many, many things. I was 13, but I became the national sub-junior, junior champion, so on. After that, I would say there were very many good years. They often came in pairs. 1997, 98 were spectacular years for me. Then again, 2003, 2004. But 2007 has to be the bumper year where I became world #1 for the first time and won the title again.
How did your life change once you'd reached that point? I mean, was there a defining moment where you felt, okay, that's it? And then how did your life change?
Well, the first moment was in 1987 when really I think I made the decision, okay, I suspected it, but now I'm going to be a chess player all my life. And you can feel that. I mean, I went through college anyway, but deep down, unless there's an enormous amount of arguments as to why you should stop, you're not going to. Much later, I went through many world championship cycles. So always being very close, I was in the final in many of them. I knew there was still something lacking, and I knew that I had to win the world title one day. After Mexico, I don't know what happened. I would say Mexico, I was elated mainly. But after Bonn, I think I was relieved because I was aware of this idea that, oh my God, I can lose this title again. Now I would say I'm pretty satisfied. I'm satisfied with my accomplishments because a lot of things that, and in the last 2 years I've ticked off a lot of incomplete boxes. But I don't. I pretty much feel okay. When the next tournament comes, you have to start playing up again. You have to get back from the clouds and start again. But in a way, it's a relief that a lot of the things I wanted to do, I've done.
In your opinion, is chess something that's inherently there in a person's character, the quality to be a good chess player, or is it something that can be learned?
I would say both. Clearly, there is something called talent. Some kids look at a chessboard and see things that others don't. So there does seem to be some natural quality. But it's also a skill I think you can learn and work on. And in fact, it goes hand in hand. I would say that even if you don't have the obvious talent for chess, you may have some connection at a deeper level. And chess will teach you important skills. Kids who play chess often tend to do very well in other things.
Who were your mentors?
I basically grew up worshipping Michael Tal and Bobby Fischer. So they were my idols growing up.
In terms of people who were directly in your life, though, who influenced you? Even outside the world of chess, you know, the people that actually shaped you as a character.
I would say mainly my family, and probably some friends, you know, that you meet at tournaments and so on. And I think at some level they do inspire you, but probably I would say my family.
And how does a chess player change in terms of their ability from going from young to older chess players? How, is there a visible change in the way they work, not just with the experience they have, but in the way the thought process goes and the way they're able to handle tournaments?
Yeah, I think chess has a lot of room, so to speak. And as you discover more and more rooms, you become a bit more open to the idea that you could be wrong. I think when you're young, you have a very strong sense of right and wrong in chess. You know, these are good moves, these are crap moves, and that sort of thing. But as you gain more experience, you gain more flexibility in many positions. And I think that's what a healthy player should be doing. As you get older, you should be growing as a chess player and doing lots of new things. Also, trends in chess change very fast. And if you don't ride every wave, so to speak, what worked very well for a while, people might learn from that and adapt to it. So you also have to keep moving on.
Yeah, when you say trends, how do you mean? In the playing styles?
Playing styles. I mean, a certain approach or a certain opening may work for a while. And if you sort of put all your bets on that and don't work on other areas, when people solve that, suddenly you won't have a weapon with which you can grow. Chess is very, very broad. And you need to keep on playing different kinds of positions to get a better intuition, which allows you. Intuition is simply in chess, you have a certain feeling. This piece belongs here. I can't explain why, but it just feels right here. Or this move is right here, and so on. And that's very useful in all sorts of crunch moments. So I think as you grow as a chess player, it helps you with your tournament career as well.
Who's the most interesting player, or perhaps most challenging, but certainly the most interesting player you've come across?
Well, definitely Kasparov is very, very interesting. And simply for many, many years. I would say a lot of chess players are very interesting. In a given year, they may suddenly show something which makes you question your understanding of chess, and you think, wow, I can really learn from these guys. But for many years, that was him, and he was very consistent for many years. So
you get to play him as well. You've had a chance to play all the sort of the big names from the past.
Oh,
as
definitely.
Well.
I mean, I've played Karpov and Kasparov over 100 games each, so huge numbers. So.
What is there left for you to do? I mean, you said you've accomplished a lot, but what goals have you set yourself?
Right now, I'd like to retain my title as long as possible. That's a vague goal in a certain sense, but in another sense, it's simply very specific because always the next match is coming up, and you have to focus on that. And I think motivation, you can look at it two ways. One thing is maybe titles motivate you, but for me, actually, titles follow. If I'm excited to play chess and excited to be at that tournament, usually the results are good, and vice versa. So as long as I go to tournaments and I'm excited about it, then I think that's what chess should be like.
Now, of course, I hope you retain your title indefinitely, but if you do lose your title at a certain point, is there ever a threshold where you say, I have to find something else to do?
I'm sure that point will come, but I'm equally sure that it's very bad to think about it and prepare for it. So, in fact, I've decided, well, when I get there, I should be able to deal with it. So, I prefer not to think about it at all.
What would you like your legacy to be? How would you like to be remembered?
Well, I would. I've gotten a lot from chess, and I would like to be able to give back the same degree. In India, I'm running a school program called the NIIT Mind Champions Academy, and this was simply born out of the finding, if you like, that chess playing students often delivered better academic results as well, that chess in fact helped them develop certain skills. So we're introducing this in a lot of schools, lots of remote schools as well. And so in India, typically chess was a 3 or 4 state phenomenon, but now it's becoming much more broad-based. We're finding lots of talent in remote schools. We crossed 200,000 students last year, and we're hoping, and if I think, one day 200,000 students, maybe 1 million students come into contact with the game because of me, that'd be a fantastic legacy.
Vishy, thank you very much for your time. Enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thanks a lot for having me.